here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
I was hoping today that I could come in here and talk about something that was a little bit less, intense, or just take a reprieve a little bit from what's going on out there. And that's just not going to be possible. There's some things that we'll talk about a little bit lighthearted today, but my oh my, folks. Welcome. Welcome to the Todd Huff Show. I am your host, Todd Huff. This is the home of conservative, not bitter talk, and you can email me your thoughts, questions, feedback. Even your adoration and praise will be accepted at this email, todd@toddhuffshow.com. And look, it's obvious that in order to follow the rhetoric and the agenda of the radical left, we have to completely and utterly reject reality as we know it. And it is blatantly obvious in lots of ways. I've got some tweets here from Paul Krugman that I want to talk about today. Oz told me that I didn't see this. She told me just as I was coming on the program that yesterday on the 5 on Fox News, Juan Williams suggested that the officer who shot Ma'Khia Bryant in that situation in Ohio on earlier this week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday, suggested that the officer should have fired warning shots. Have you seen the video that was released from the neighbor's house? He had cameras up, and they were looking at the street. He was directly across the street. And if you watch it, I believe it's 9 seconds. The officer arrived on the scene, was out of his car for 9 seconds before he fired a shot. 9 seconds. He got out of his car. There was pushing. Ma'Khia Bryant, I believe, was one that went to the ground. She jumped up, pulled out her knife or exposed her knife and went to stab, swung the knife. The officer fired, striking Ma'Khia Bryant, and it's a terrible situation, obviously, for the officer, for the family. Who knows what all happened there, but the officer had no choice. And, of course, we talked about LeBron James' stupid, idiotic, unacceptable tweet yesterday telling the officer, "You're next, coming after you," hashtag accountability. Accountability for what? It's tragic. We can all agree with that. We can all agree that it's tragic when a 16-year-old is shot. But the idea that based upon what we're seeing here, and I'm watching it in the background right now in slow motion, she's got a girl basically pinned up against a car, pulling a knife back, trying to stab her. This is just incredible. The officer had 9 seconds. 9 seconds to make a decision. He's going to let the girl get stabbed. Should he say, "Please stop"? Juan Williams saying, "Fire a warning shot." I've heard people suggest shoot her in the leg. When an officer, it is amazing to me what people think about that don't know much about guns, think about guns. And when an officer, or when you, God forbid this happens, but when you decide, first of all, to pull your weapon, if that's obviously a place that the situation has gotten tense to begin with. But when you choose to use that weapon, you've decided, that means that I have decided that it is necessary to use lethal force. Because you know what? Even if I was, again, the idea that you can just strike someone in the leg First of all, there's femoral arteries and so forth. The idea that someone still can't bleed out or die is naive. Of course that can happen. But when you decide to use a weapon, you've decided that lethal force is required. Again, as I said yesterday, where is the talk about, first of all, hey, how about we don't start swinging knives at people? That's a big. Where's the talk about? Let's whatever fueled the situation that led this young lady, who's tragically no longer here with us, because candidly of her own choices based upon what we've seen here. And this is considered hate speech in the world of, in the minds of some people. But because of the decisions that she made, now she's not with us. It's created all sorts of just terrible situations, right? For the officer, the family. LeBron James is doxing this guy, exposing who he is. Could lead to something happening, God forbid, to this guy. I'm reminded of Ferguson and the officer there who was basically demonized and his life destroyed, Officer Darren Wilson. Remember this? We had this guy's life destroyed, but we find out that what we were told about the crime isn't, well, we were told about officer not doing what he was supposed to do is not what happened. Instead, Michael Brown attacked the officer in his car, was shot at close range, even inside the officer's vehicle. But where is the calls that say those engaging in this sort of behavior this has got to stop? This sort of thing has got to stop. But the problem is we got people like Paul Krugman, who's a radical leftist. Paul Krugman, I'm looking here, he wrote this. He wrote a series of tweets. I saw this on Fox News. I don't know if it was last night or this morning. He's basically denying that riots caused by some Black Lives Matter individuals didn't really happen. They were, quote, overwhelmingly peaceful. As Fox News points out, there were 18 deaths and nearly $2 billion with a B, $2 billion in property damage in cities across the country that resulted from the unrest that came from Black Lives Matter rallies. Now, as I've said before, and some of you don't even necessarily like me saying this, that, look, not every Black Lives Matter protest is clearly not one that ends in violence and destruction. But the idea that there wasn't wide-scale problems because a portion of the individuals who were involved, and it may have been, there's, again, the peaceful groups that are trying to draw attention to and solutions for what they believe are solutions for some of these problems, some of these issues in American society today as it pertains to policing and these sorts of things. I don't have a beef with any of those people. Even if I disagree with what they're saying needs to be done, if I disagree regarding the problem, I remember having lunch with a gentleman who he's a Christian man, a good man. His perspective on this and mine were not the same. I mean, in some ways, we certainly could acknowledge what certain problems were, but in other ways, the depth of the problem, the systemic nature of the problem is something altogether different. We didn't see eye to eye on it, and we still, he was perplexed at me at some point. I was perplexed at him at some point. But I think we still had a respect and care. There are people that fall into that group, but there's also clearly people who fall into the group that are going to destroy whatever they can, loot wherever they can, take advantage of the emotional situation, the circumstances. There are some that stir that up intentionally. This is undeniable. This is undeniable. So, I want to talk a little bit about that that today as well. We also have an interview with Jay Height. We do this once a month. Jay Height, Executive Director of Shepherd Community Center in Indianapolis, who's become a friend of this program, and they really do great work. And you know what? I'll say this. If you want to look at, now, they're not, there's some issues that obviously that we're dealing with or talking about here that are outside the scope of, say, what Shepherd would be dealing with when it comes to, say, policing. But there are certainly overlaps between some of the issues and things that Jay Height's group, Shepherd Community, deals with and is trying to help address and solve, that overlap into some of these other things where problems begin to arise. Now, that's my description, not Jay's. Jay doesn't get into the politics of this. I do. So don't say these are Jay's words. But the things that Shepherd is trying to do by bringing hope and to break the cycle of poverty in the inner city community on the Near East side of Indianapolis. There's certainly violence in that area as well. And there's the idea that it's just policing. That's the problem here, is tremendously underestimating the scope of the problem. There are tons of issues that have created this circumstance. And one of those is clearly the attempt to politicize the issue by some leftists. Remember, was it Patrice Cullors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter? She's a self-described trained Marxist. She's a trained Marxist. She's a communist. She's a communist who wants to remake America, folks. She wants to remake America. And if you look at some of the Marxist techniques and strategies, and you look at what Black Lives Matter is doing, you can certainly see, I'm talking about the organization. I'm not talking about every single protester, but I'm talking about the organization itself and what it's really trying to do. Some of the things, I'm not saying that all the things it's trying to do is bad, but at its core, the Marxist core, which she says the founders of Black Lives Matter, at least two, are self-taught, self-described Marxist teachers and influencers and so forth. That is evil. Marxism is evil. It's un-American. And it's terrifying that it's at the root of an organization that a lot of people are going out of their way to excuse behavior for and so forth. Again, not every person. In fact, the vast majority of protesters are not doing this stuff. I fully acknowledge that. It's not the protesters I have a problem with. It's the rioters. And as I've said before, it's pretty clear when a protest becomes a riot. When you go from carrying poster board and signs and engaging in chants, and you start throwing rocks and starting fires and dancing on police cars and looting buildings. Surprise, surprise, you've ceased attending a protest and now you're attending or inciting a riot that caused, over last summer, a series of riots, according to Fox News, $2 billion with a B dollars of damage, and that led to, or that involved in these riots, 18 deaths, again reported according to Fox News. So, timeout is in order. When we get back, I want to share an interview I had with my friend Jay Height of Shepherd Community, talking about, again, breaking the cycle of poverty, which in some cases, not in all cases, I'm not suggesting, but in some cases, some of these problems like poverty, like hopelessness, cultural issues and gang violence and things that are all kind of intertwined within some of these communities. I'm not suggesting all or even that it's always part of the problem, but it is a part of the problem in some of the cases. So they're trying to address at least part of this. I want to share that conversation with him, and then we'll continue with some other things as well, including some notices at George Floyd Square, which they're now calling the place in Minneapolis where George Floyd lost his life died at the hands of Officer Chauvin almost getting close to a year ago now. So a lot to unpack. Quick timeout is necessary. Be back here in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Ward's Apparel, Edwards Equipment, and Indiana Wooded Paradise Retreat by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
Does your business have a plan for social media marketing? Are you reaching the right audiences through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the list goes on? Are you learning from the data? Jarbo can help. Our team doesn't just come in and tell you how to be successful. We help you execute and measure your sales and marketing efforts. Give us a call at 317-834-6560 or visit us online at jarbomarketing.com. That's jarbomarketing.com. Make social media work for you.
Hunting, fishing, bows, guns, ammo, safes, and more. The Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood has all the gear you need for your outdoor experience. We have a huge selection of brands that other shops don't carry, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff ready to answer all your outdoor adventure questions. At Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood, you can even hone your archery skills at our indoor shooting range. Find us online at outdoorsmansportshop.com. So get outdoors, but bring the right gear.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
Weddings, reunions, business, church, or family retreats, Indiana Paradise Retreat is a hidden gem located right here in central Indiana. With over 11,000 square feet, a theater, gym, sauna, hot tub, pool, stocked lakes, and even an on-site event hangar, we have just the place for your next event. Find us on Airbnb, VRBO, or just search for Indiana Paradise Retreat. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Are you looking for reliable advice on real estate investing? Then you should start listening to the Homeboys. Clint and Scott have over 40 years of real estate investing experience that they use to educate and guide their listeners. Listen and learn from their experiences to maximize your real estate investment strategy. You can find the Homeboys podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or watch them on YouTube. That's the Homeboys podcast. They can show you how to get started and reach your real estate investment goals.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Welcome back. Listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. Again, going through a whole list of issues today, and one of those is sharing this conversation, this interview with Jay Height with you. So with that being said, I want to share this conversation with Jay Height, our friend at Shepherd Community Center. Hope you enjoy. Well, it is always my honor and pleasure to have with us Jay Height, Executive Director, Shepherd Community Center. Jay, how are you today, sir? Welcome to the program.
Doing just very blessed and great life and kids, and most of all, grandkids. And so these are blessed days.
Well, good, my friend. I've heard a lot of folks say a lot of good things about the grandkids. I just have kids myself, and I've heard folks say grandkids are such a blessing. So that's good to hear. So today we're going to talk about, as we have been with you for some time now, this is our fourth discussion about the assets to kind of help break the cycle of poverty. And that's really what you're focused on doing there at Shepherd Community.
Right.
So today we're going to talk about emotional stability. But before we do that, just really briefly hit the other three if folks haven't heard what we've talked about before, and then they can listen to archives of the full discussion on the podcast if they want to listen to that. What are the first three assets?
Yeah, of the 10, the three that we've covered, first and foremost is faith, believing not just in a God, but believing in a personal God who provides us hope and a purpose, allowing folks to have access. We talk about moving our families from sick care to health care. And so having access many times is the challenge around health care. And then having support, having those relationships who will show up when we need help.
And so now we're on to the fourth, which is emotional stability. I guess quickly define, I mean, folks obviously have some idea what we mean by that or what you mean by that. Maybe just kind of hit a general definition of what you mean and why that's important to breaking the cycle of poverty.
Well, it's the ability to control your responses to circumstances, particularly negative circumstances. So how are you reacting? How do you process? How do you deal with the curveball that's thrown at you throughout your day?
So whenever someone is in your community coming to Shepherd or looking for ways, or you're trying to help them to break this cycle, what are some practical ways that your team, that you and your team are helping to provide or to teach folks how to be more emotionally stable?
Well, we are thankful and blessed to have a very talented counselor who works with many of our children, our students, and our families. But all of the staff is working with our students on how do you deal with disagreements? How do you handle it when something is, unfair? How do you react? If someone hurts you, what do you do? God created us with an amygdala, that fight or flight mechanism that is to be used to help you in those dangerous situations. The problem is we've developed a generation and many times a community that lives in that amygdala. And that's not how God created us. And so you say, well, why did someone get so angry? And, why did they immediately do that? And we see the tragedies of the violence of our communities and continue to see the results of gun violence that you say, why would someone shoot someone over that? And the stories of people hurting each other. And many times they've become so addicted to their amygdala that they are always in that fight or flight. And so everything sends them over the edge.
So I know, you're not
the counselor, but maybe sink our roots a little bit into this discussion of the amygdala and what's going on, and maybe even I'm thinking about, as you said before, the analogy or the illustration where these 10 assets to breaking the cycle of poverty are like planks in a bridge, and if you're missing a couple, it's not that big of a huge deal. If you're missing half or a lot of these, then it's a major deal. You can't cross the bridge. You can't get across that chasm. And I think sometimes, this is, I guess, a two-pronged question. One, I think sometimes for folks who have things, who are maybe comfortable not dealing with some of these circumstances, it's hard to recognize just how much missing one of those other planks or some of those other planks can fuel this one, I'm guessing, right? You can become more emotionally unstable by having less of the assets in place. So I guess talk a little bit about that relationship, and then also back with the amygdala and what that really means, and how that means people are responding, and maybe how we can, I guess, be better equipped to help folks who are stuck in that situation.
Well, if I don't have access to healthcare and I'm sick, and if I don't have those meaningful relationships that support, then I feel like I'm in it alone. I can't, no one cares about me, so I don't care about them. And, I'll just be real honest. We've just saw a tragedy in our community with the FedEx shooting, and it takes me back 15 years to the Hamilton Avenue slayings, which was our family. And I'll be real honest. I grow weary of all of the rallies and the speeches and the pastors who preach a sermon. And what I want is for us to just go love our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
But if our neighbor doesn't feel like anyone cares for them, then every misstep of life becomes an attack. And this is a way, this undermines so many of the other assets that it lends itself to you don't think that anyone cares, and then you'll make bad choices. And most of all, we know that there's a God. That's why the basis of our assets is we want people to know that there's a God who loves them and God who created them. And that's the foundation of our hope. And then if we can help folks not have to live in this constant state of survival, that they always feel like everything is an attack. And so their reaction, sometimes you'll say, I was just trying to help you. And somebody's all mad and angry. And so many times I've heard, well, I don't want to let anyone get close to me because everyone who gets close to me hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart breaks for that. In my life growing up, there's people who hurt me, but there's a lot of people who loved me, even when I was an obnoxious teenager. and some people would say an obnoxious 50-some-year-old.
I'm not going to say that, Jay.
Yeah. But God has blessed me with people who care. And man, the way we build this is to help folks know that someone loves them and then begins to model that. I think this is where sports and sports activities are very helpful for us to deal with losses. As a kid who loved playing baseball, and I'm probably a lot better in my mind than I was in reality, but
we all were.
I love baseball. And I played one year on a team that we hardly won a game, but I learned a lot that way. I learned how to deal with disappointment, and I learned how to deal with frustration. And on those teams, I would have been one of the better players, but I learned that it's a team. And we won as a team, and as we lost as a team. And so those types of things, that's why I think churches who do upward basketball or upward soccer, those are important things. And allowing kids to have those types of access. And then we as adults, we got to encourage them. And, it's about winning life, not winning a ball game. Mm-hmm. But we need to help folks do their best and learn that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of mine who spent many years in the armed forces, talked about how he had to learn how to shut off his amygdala, because leading tours in a Delta Force team in Iraq province, in the province there in Iraq, he'd say, we always had to be on guard because someone was always wanting to hurt us. And he taught me a technique that they used of remembering. And I said, that's exactly what God did. That sometimes we can get like this, right? Everything just keeps coming at us, and problem after problem, and we feel, we get edgy and we get tired and we get grumpy. But if God said to have standing stones in our lives and to tell our kids how faithful God was every time you go by it. And so maybe in our life, a way we could do that is to continue to remind ourselves and to tell the story to others of God's continued faithfulness in our lives.
Amen. That's a great point. And to, as you've been talking about emotional stability here, it reminds me of something I've heard on Dave Ramsey's program. And he talks about, people that are in financial difficulties. And of course, it stands to common sense here. But whenever someone, if you don't have any resources, a $100 or $300 repair on the car can be something that is incapacitating for you, right? And so that can, of course, lead to emotional responses, and everything becomes magnified, and you can see how these things are interconnected and woven together. And I think you're right. You're spot on with this. We need to be there and show love and connect with people and genuinely try to be that support and bridge. And so what do you say to someone who says, okay, that all sounds great, Jay, but how do I practically do this? I have a small group and Bible study, and we lead it on Sundays. And, a lot of times it comes down to where the rubber meets the road for people. That sounds good, but what do I do? What do I do next? How do I help someone in that position? What's something practical I can do? What would you say? How would you direct them?
Well, we can't love our neighbor if we don't know them. And according to Gallup statistics, only 31% of Americans know their neighbor. And I think COVID's probably made that worse. So let's get to know our neighbors. And let's help our neighbors. And here's the thing, when God said love your neighbor, he wasn't instructing us to love the people who are nice to us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes loving your neighbor is to that person that they frustrate you, right? They leave their trash can open and the trash blows all over and you got to pick it up and it just drives you insane. And the command from the New Testament is love your neighbor.
You're
There's
right.
no exception. So I think we have to get out, we got to know, and then find those ways that we can intersect into their life. I have been talking a lot about this and trying to call us to love our neighbor. And it's no longer come and see what I want you to see. It's for us to go and be that holy presence in our neighborhood and in our and see those people and show them God's love.
Well, I think sometimes our small group, actually, and I didn't intend to talk about this, but just from what you're saying, it's reminded me, but we're studying a book written by Tozer, and he's brilliant and just a lot of insight there. But he talks about he oftentimes puts the cookies on the bottom shelf, even though he's brilliant. He breaks things down to a way to where it makes sense on a very fundamental level. And he's writing about faith, and he says at its core, faith is using the inward eyes of the soul just to look up to God, just to look up to God. And so I guess to your point, maybe if we would be better at doing that, more intentional at doing that, we would be more aware of or open to the proddings of God on ways that we could show love to our neighbor, because it's not necessarily some grandiose action we have to take. Sometimes it's literally just being there, listening, showing encouragement, support. I'm sure you see that at Shepherd.
Yeah. So a friend of mine told me this, and this was profound. He said, Jesus did ministry at 3 miles an hour. And we live at 50 miles an hour.
So true.
And so we miss the promptings because we're moving on to the next thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And people need less programs and they need more relationships.
Amen, brother.
And so for me, as Shepherd looks at this next decade of service, it's about how do we re-neighbor the hood?
I love that, by the way. Yeah.
How do I let my neighbors know that there's someone who cares for them? I don't want any more people to die. And yet violence will continue because it happens when people do not believe that anyone cares for them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to police our way out of that. We're not going to spend our way out of that. It only comes when we get to know our neighbors and to say, hey, it's not my job to represent Jesus. It's my job to represent Jesus and to represent him in a tangible way. It's, you know what? I can remember a time growing up in Dayton, Ohio, when, you know, my mom would send food over to the neighbor lady, elderly lady, because she was sick. And my wife and I deliver food each week. And we had a lady say, you know, I just made a bunch of chili and I knew they needed some, so I took them over. This lady has very little, but she's rich because she's generous. Mm-hmm. And she goes across the street. And that's such a, you know, that's ministry at 3 miles an hour.
That's good advice. And that's a great way to say it. So, got to wrap up here. Time is knocking on my door. So, Folks want to get involved. Folks want to say, hey, I like what Jay's doing. I like what Shepherd's doing. I want to be a part of this. Plug me in. I'm not entirely sure, but what Jay's saying when he's on here, these 10 assets, they make sense to me. I want to be a part of it. What do they do?
Well, they can contact us at Shepherd Community. If you want to volunteer, Donna Alexander is our great leader who can connect you. If there are other ways that you want to explore, you can reach and call us, and we could guide you on how you may want to answer the call. But it's a both and. We want you to come join with what we're doing and what God's doing on the Near East Side, but we also want you to do it on your own street.
That's right. Great advice. Jay Height, Executive Director, Shepherd Community Center. Always a pleasure, Jay. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Well, thank you so much.
Stay on top of the nonsense our colleges are subjecting students to today by listening to Todd's monthly interview series with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of The College Fix. Listen at toddhuffshow.com/college. Brought to you by Apprentice University. With so many societal changes, everyone's talking about apprenticeships and college debt. Businesses seek employees with practical problem-solving skills. Visit apprentice.university to learn about our demanding academics and paid apprenticeships in excess of tuition. No debt, in-demand skills, Christian community.
Are you tired of manually opening the gate every time you pull in the drive, especially during the freezing cold, pouring rain, or hot, humid weather? Then Gatekeeper Services has your solution. They offer affordable residential and commercial motorized units for your gated properties. Veteran-owned with over 50 years' experience in motorized gate sales and repairs on any make or model, and with numerous entry control options, Gatekeeper Services takes pride being certified in both automated gate system design and operator installation. Simplify your life today by calling 317-714-4061.
I want to get one more season out of my furnace or air conditioner. Have you or someone you know ever made that statement? Economy heating, air conditioning, and plumbing has heard it a lot. Did you know that furnaces and air conditioners are most likely to break down when they're under stress? That means during the hottest and coldest months of the year, like those months quickly approaching us. With winter on the horizon, now is the time to replace that old rickety unit. With 0% financing for up to 72 months and up to $600 in instant rebates, now is the time to buy. Doing great work is Economy's priority, and the satisfaction of their customers is their number one goal, guaranteed. Make your home comfortable this winter. Contact Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing today by calling 317-831-5279 or visit them at economyheatingandair.com.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today, providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price. Our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create, on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
Flooded basement, failed sump pump. Water damage happens fast this time of year. For 38 years now, Hayes & Sons has been restoring water damage in Indiana homes and businesses. They'll help you navigate your insurance claim and get your life back on track. So when a water disaster strikes, tell your insurance agent you want Hayes & Sons for your restoration work. Visit hayesondsons.com/Todd for more information.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Welcome back. By the way, I should tell you a couple things really quickly, and we're off of the time because of the interview. But that interview is brought to you by our friends at Apprentice University. With so many changes in our society these days, everyone's talking about the importance of apprenticeships and college debt. So much so that Bernie Sanders is going to make it free, folks. Businesses are seeking employees with skills who can solve problems. Visit apprentice.university to see how you or your student can learn through demanding academics and pay from apprenticeships in excess of tuition. No debt, in-demand skills, Christian community. That's Apprentice University. We appreciate them sponsoring that interview. And even the folks here at the Todd Huff Show make mistakes. We have two files with the interview. One is the radio version, the other is the podcast, and the only one that was operational today for us was the podcast, so I do apologize for that. That's why it sounded a little bit different their last segment, but I do appreciate Jay Height and all he does at Shepherd Community. It's a great organization, and that being said, I've got to take a timeout again just to get us back on schedule because of the length of the interview. So come back here and talk about a few other things as we get through this crazy, intense week. Back here in just a minute.
Enrollment in Todd's conservative, not bitter university is now open. For a limited time, save $10 on Todd's first course, A Christian's Guide to Being a Patriot. For more information or to enroll, visit conservativenotbitter.com. Sponsored in part by Workforce Chaplains. Could your business or organization benefit from the services of a professional team of chaplains? Meet the needs of your employees and foster an excellent work environment with Workforce Chaplains. For more information, visit workforcechaplains.com today.
Quality glass windows and doors add value to your home or commercial space. At White's Innovative Glass, our family-owned and operated company will work with you to ensure we understand your vision before we begin. And if you don't have a vision, we can help with that too. We proudly stand behind our work and look forward to your call. Right now, we're offering 15% off your next project. Visit our website at whitesinnovativeglass.com/Todd.
Are you looking to purchase waterproof flooring for your home? Did you know it's as easy as typing rnrproducts.com/Todd in your search engine for a great deal on our core tech line? Since 1971, R&R Products has provided brand name products at an affordable price to the listening area. Call 317-745-5794 or go online to rnrproducts.com/Todd. R&R Products. We make your flooring experience easy and affordable.
Fireplaces can be beautiful and even essential in heating some homes. But did you know they could be dangerous to your family if not properly maintained? Chimneys need to be cleaned and inspected annually. My family and I had Smalling Masonry inspect ours. They are friendly, informative, on time, and helped us use our wood-burning stove more efficiently. Call Christian-owned Smalling Masonry today at 317-903-8121 and mention my name, Todd Huff, for a 15% off chimney inspection and sweep.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
There's a lot going on in the world today, and with so much going on, it's sometimes hard to maintain balance. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." I'm Pastor Jeff Floyd of the Martinsville First Church of the Nazarene. To experience how life can be better with Jesus, come worship at M1 Church at 10 a.m. this Sunday, 1609 John R. Wooden Drive in Martinsville, or catch our live stream service on Facebook at M1 Church. For more information, visit m1nazarene.org. Have a great day today in Jesus.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
Welcome back. I just saw this. Now, I'd seen the video of Micaiah Bryant coming out of the house and attempting to stab a girl, but she's screaming as she comes out of the house. This is as the officer is pulling up. She's screaming, "I'm going to stab the blank out of you, blank." She gets knocked to the ground during a scuffle. Then she charges the girl who's kind of pinned up against a vehicle. She starts to swing a knife. The officer fires several shots. If folks can't see this for what it is, I don't think they want to. I don't know what this officer's supposed to do. Anyway, gotta take a break. Come back and wrap up. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I am your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, Care to Change, and Interior Construction Services by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
Not again! There's never any hot water left for my shower. Everyone else gets a nice long soak and I'm left with ice water. I'm calling Commercial Service about their latest offer on tankless water heaters. I can save up to $800 on an installation. No more cold showers for me.
Call the partner you can trust. Call Commercial Service at 812-339-9114 or online at commercialservice.com. Commercial Service. Commercial grade service for your home.
Are your health insurance premiums making you sick? There is a cure. With the Pro-Life Health Plan, your savings could be as much as 60%. The Pro-Life Health Plan allows you to enjoy the freedom of choosing any doctor, any hospital, anywhere. And their enrollment is open year-round. Just give Eric a call at 888-448-5370 or visit them online at isellhealth.com. Better coverage at a better cost.
Our sense of smell stimulates memory and emotion. A scent can seemingly transport us to another place in time. Homemade, hand-poured candles and melts from spur-of-the-moment creations will give your nose the experience the rest of your body is missing during any season of the year. Crackling firewood, fresh-cut grass, Macintosh apple, and even racing fuel are some of their over 200 engaging fragrances. Visit spurofthemomentcreations.com and enter coupon code TODD at checkout to receive 15% off your order today.
There is plenty to worry about these days. If you're working with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual, your retirement and financial security doesn't need to be one of them. Blake is a time-tested financial advisor with over 20 years of experience at Northwestern Mutual. For an independent review of your financial planning needs, call Blake and mention the Todd Huff Show for a free initial consultation. Call 317-215-8322 or visit blakehornsby.com. Invest in your peace of mind with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual.
Hey, Indy. Sid here with Kill a Dent Removal. We specialize in a paint-free repair process known as PDR. Our certified master technicians remove dents and dings of all shapes and sizes, including hail damage, with zero body fillers, zero painting, and zero diminished value. Most repairs are completed the same day, many even while you wait. Check us out at killadentremoval.com. And remember, folks, don't paint your car, go PDR.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Welcome back. I wanted to get into, I don't have time, but there's a cartoon called Bluey. My kids actually watch it. The kids actually find it quite humorous. It's out of Australia, I believe. Yeah, Oz is nodding yes. But apparently, there's someone from ABC News in Australia who is upset that I guess the dogs are white. See, when I watched this cartoon, I thought the dogs were blue and brown, the colors of the dogs. But no, apparently they're white. She's upset. There's not more dogs of color. There's not more disabled. I'm reading her quote here. Disabled, queer, poor, gender diverse, dogs of color, and single-parent dog families. Oh, my goodness, folks. I gotta go. This has been a heck of a week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Thanks for listening. SDG. Take care.
All your life,
You've planned and taken care of the people you love. They always knew you had a plan. Taking care of your final wishes will give them one final gift. Buying your headstones direct through Thomas Monument saves your loved ones additional stress during a difficult time and saves money by cutting out the middleman. Call 317-244-6525 or go online to thomasmonument.com to understand why families have trusted us since 1962.
Have you seen the price of custom cabinetry and countertops lately? If you're looking for quality, affordable remodels, call Carriage House Woodworking. Our helpful professionals will walk you through every step of the process. We're offering a free sink base with qualifying purchases. Just enter CHWEINC.com/Todd or call 317-406-3042. Call Carriage House Woodworking. You won't have to spend your kids' inheritance just to upgrade your kitchen.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.